Blessings, everyone. Good morning to you. Welcome to Musings from South Africa. My name is Reverend Denise Schubert, and I am the founder of A Life of Spiritual Power. I normally come to you live on Sunday evenings for Sunday Night Alive, but I am currently in South Africa, so I'm streaming to you on Saturday mornings because we have a significant time difference. So welcome. So I am live to you from Hoedspruit, South Africa, sliding into the end of the year with you. Inventing a new you in 2025 is our topic for today, and clearly um, one of the most fun things for me to talk about is living a life of possibility, is creating something out of nothing, is actually always obeying the mandate to uh, always be emerging as the more of who we are. And so, welcome to Saturday Morning Musings. And I'm going to speak a blessing upon us before I actually dive into our content. If you're here with me for the first time, welcome. If you are here, please say hello. You can just say hello in the comment section so I can acknowledge you and feel a little less crazy talking to a camera in the middle of the African bush to myself. So, so for you, it's probably, you're on the West Coast, so it's probably 9 o'clock in the morning at this moment. If you're on the East Coast, it's way earlier. I also have some of you in Arkansas, but for me, it's 4 o'clock in the afternoon. So wherever we are, whatever time frame we're in, no matter if I'm here, you're there, we come together for a moment as I speak a word, blessing our time together. To bless something is to call it sacred, and I'm about the business of establishing the sacred in our lives. I'm about the business of practical spirituality, and I'm about the business of inventing possibilities. And so as we come together, I, in this moment, recognize that we are connected at levels way beyond our physicality, that just because I can't touch you or you can't touch me does not mean that we are not connected. That's true about each and every one of us on this planet. It's true for each and every animal, each and every plant. We live in a field of connection. So it's from that place that I bless our time together, knowing that it is perfect even at the onset. I declare it to be great and know that we all walk away, including myself, with something meaningful from being together this morning. And so for all of this and so much more, I am grateful, and let it be. And so it shall be. Amen. So, inventing a new you in 2025, that is my topic for today. Today is December 28th. We're sliding into the new year. I actually love this time of year because it's a great time to evaluate your past year, who you've been, how you've been. It's also a great time to complete anything that's not complete yet. By complete, I mean forgiveness. By complete, I mean cleaning your closets. By complete, I mean telling people you love them. It's like you need to just look and see what's unfinished. It's also a great time to unclutter your life, which could also mean cleaning your closets and making some space so that you bring into the new year kind of a new energy, a new field of awareness. So I love the definition of invent, which is to create or design something that has not existed before, to be the originator of an original. Now, in this context, I'm talking about you and me, that I want to be a me next year that I've never been before, right? I want to be different. I want to make changes. I want to be better. I want to be more awakened. I want to be more transformed. I want to be more enlightened. I want to be more loving. So, um, or to be the originator of an original. You know, you are an original. You're more of an original than any of us even recognize, because as as I always talk about, we are, for the most part, conditioned, meaning the who we think ourselves to be is who we've been created to be by life, by living life, and not who God meant us to be, or who we are spiritually. What is the character of our soul? What is the character of our spirit? What is the destination of our spirit? What's the desire of our spirit? These are the questions that are always of interest to me. I love this quote as well. If you always do what you've always done, you'll always have what you already have. So the name of the game is change, is growth, is expansion. We are always on an upward spiral of becoming more. We're always an emergence of new ways of being of service to ourselves and to each other. If we're not changing and growing and evolving, then we are stagnant. Or in some cases, we're even going backwards. But in most cases, we're merely stuck. In most cases, we don't change much because we don't know how. We don't feel it's possible, or we have people around us who are counting on us to stay the same. So change is not easy. I mean, if change were really, really easy, we would have done it already. And keep in mind that you don't have to be unhappy or broken or stuck to invite in transformation for yourself at all. Mature consciousness is always from a state of completion. So mature consciousness is, I'm going to find a different word here. Beginning the awakening process, when we first begin to become awake or aware or transformed or enlightened, whatever words you want to use, to an exalted human being, into its spiritual identity, we always start from a place that feels like we may be broken or we may be missing something. In fact, many of us come from a place through depression, addiction, separation, or loss. Mature spirituality, it's not like you arrive and there's nothing else to do, because we're always changing and growing. So as we approach the end of this year and approach the beginning of next year, to see where transformation could be for you, the you that wants to be invented, just look and see what feels like it's missing a little bit. I mean, do you want more companionship? Do you want more challenge? Do you want more peace and quiet? Do you want more friends? Do you need more money? Do you have an idea you need to give birth to? These are all places where you can go to listen to the work tonight about inventing yourself in 2025, becoming a new person in 2025. So to create a context for change, we create it with the understanding that it is a process that you invite, and then you follow the dots, you follow the yellow brick road, willing to have the adventure of change, or willing to have the adventure of transformation. But it is an invitation. It is an invitation from the self to the self to expand. Now, expansion, by the way, and growth, by the way, is almost always messy business because, for example, if I say, I want to be a more loving person next year, if that for me is a goal, right, a dream, I don't want to use those words. I actually want to use word vision or a possibility. I want to be a more loving person. It, by virtue of your asking that, will bring you into situations where you get to work on the parts of you that are unloving. So to create the context for this kind of change is, number one, intentional, and then you have to be willing to walk through the experiences that will actually have you show up this same time next year as a more loving person. Are you following what I'm saying? So, uh, it takes a certain degree of courage and a certain degree of trust and a certain degree of faith and a whole lot of what we're going to talk about today, which is commitment and congruence. Werner Erhard said at one point, he said, "You and I possess within ourselves at every moment of our lives, under all circumstances, the power to transform the quality of our lives." Now, I love this quote. Actually, I love almost everything Werner Erhard ever said, but I love this quote because we are talking about, I am talking about for sure, always living from a more spiritual perspective than human one. To be in life with more spiritual qualities expressing themselves than human ego ones or from ego ones. So he's saying here, under any circumstances, we have the ability to transform the quality of our lives. Even if your life is great, we have the invitation and the ability to have it be greater, to have it be even more. This kind of all starts with a vision, which is why it's important to just kind of check in and say to yourself, it's been a great year, but what could be better? It's been a great year, but this was kind of missing. Or you might even see that this has been a great year on some level, but not on other levels, just because of where your time and attention has been. So, like if in 2024 you were working on abundance or prosperity, you might have not been paying too much attention to your health. So next year may be about vitality and well-being. But whatever it is, it's going to start with a vision, which is also to say uh, it's also the power of possibility. So this quote, this Japanese proverb says, "Vision without action is a daydream, and action without vision is a nightmare." This is a very, very powerful idea because it's saying that to have a dream about being a more awakened human being, a more loving human being, without taking action on that is a daydream, right? Or to want to have more abundance but not do anything about it is a daydream, often a frustrating one. Often one that would keep us stuck in a rut because then we say, well, it's not possible, or it didn't happen, or I wasn't lucky enough. But at the same time, to be in life acting without a vision can also be a nightmare because it leads us down roads where we may be out of integrity with our spirit. It leads us down roads where we might do things, we might create harm for ourselves or other people. So we want to combine vision, possibility, and action together for a powerful, powerful, irrefutably wonderful 2025. Now, to live life from the place of possibility, or to live life from the place of vision, um, allows us to live life as a visionary rather than a reactionary. You know, mostly we are reacting to things that are happening to us. We're responding to what the world throws at us. So I love the word. Part of what comes with vision and possibility, that's really, possibility is the first step, and it's the first step only because you need to believe in possibility. So the first idea to embrace is that anything is possible for you. Anything. Everything is possible for you. It's a huge thing. And even when I say that, look to see if you have objections, or or something crosses through your mind that says, well, not everything is possible, Denise. Only some things are possible. Limited things are possible based on who I am, who I've been, what my life is like, how much money I have, where I work, my health. No, 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 no. It's the wrong way to come at life. That's coming at life as a reactionary, reacting to rather than responding to what's showing up as a result of your declaration. So let's talk about declaration. So declaration is an explicit statement or announcement, right? The sun is shining. I'm going to get that job. I'm going to be a more loving person. That it's an announcement. And in this case, because we're talking about spiritual things, a declaration in the language I'm using is to declare a new possibility for yourself out of nothing. You're declaring something out of nothing. There's no evidence, no proof. Nobody needs to agree with you. You don't need permission. It is a declaration. Declaration is the language of creative change. And by creative change, I mean you creating change. So, first identify what's been missing this year and then articulate it into, if it weren't missing, what would it look like? Right? It would look like I have a great job that I love, that pays me well, where I have fabulous relationships with my boss and my coworkers, and I make a difference in life. I matter. That's a language of creative change. You can declare that you are tired of living from week to week. You're tired of struggling over money. You're open to creating for yourself in 2025 a life, whether it's through a job or self-employment or an invention or somebody you win the lottery. It doesn't really. Ours is not to outline how it happens. Ours is to outline what happens. The big idea. So most of us don't declare change, as I was saying, because we wait for the world to throw at us whatever it's going to throw at us, and then we react. And that is very common, very normal. It's what all of us do until we don't. But there is another way of living and another way of being, and that is to take charge of your creativity. You're creating change and growth and expansion, upward spiral becoming, by recognizing and practicing the principles of yes. The universe says yes. The universe is like it's like plastic, and your declarations are it's like a mold, and your declarations fill that mold like an ice cube tray. And then the universe has to go about the business of making it happen for you. So, so first step, declaration. So if you haven't thought about it, begin, and you might take some notes so you don't forget. You don't forget the steps. So first, open a possibility, become a visionary. Decide on, between now and the end of the year, you have a couple of days on what you want to create for yourself in 2025. Or it could even be what you want to create for others in 2025. And it could be some combination of both. And it could be things in the world, or it could be qualities of being. So earlier I said, I could be declaring that in 2025, I want to develop myself into being a more loving person, more unconditionally loving. That would be a quality. Or you could be, I want to be a more forgiving person. Or it could be truly, the world is your oyster. It could be anything. So commitment is the action of fulfillment. So it's really what puts you into the game of creating life. Because vision without action is a daydream. That was our earlier quote. Vision without commitment is also a daydream, because remember, when you declare a new reality, you must be, I don't know what the right word is, you must be prepared to accept that new reality. So to be a more loving person, I have to heal or purify or come to terms with all the parts of myself that are not loving. Because you can't be loving and unloving at the same time, right? You can't serve two masters. You're only going to serve one. So commitment is the action of fulfillment. It's the stuff, commitment is the stuff that allows the universe to develop conditions and circumstances in compliance with the declared possibility. I cannot really possibly express or be emphatic enough about how important that is. So we can take easy things. If you declare you want to lose 5 pounds, and by the way, that may sound easy. It's actually very difficult for a lot of people to lose weight, right? One, because they don't think it's possible. Two, they think they're going to suffer if they do. So it's not easy. But if you actually get that you want to have a healthier body, better numbers, longer life, more attractive, all of the reasons why you might want to lose 5 pounds, that would be worth it, right? Your higher why. Then you commit to doing it. You just commit. You commit that I can be counted on to do what it takes to lose these 5 pounds. That's your yellow brick road, and you start walking that road. Now, when you commit to something that's important to you with a higher why, it will kind of lead you down that yellow brick road, making the decisions you need to make that will actually allow that to happen. This is what I actually call congruence. So congruence is the activity of wholeness, and wholeness speaks to integrity, or your keeping your word with yourself, which is far more important than integrity as a moral conversation. Is not very interesting spiritually, because keeping your word, obeying traffic laws, that's all great, but it's not really what we're talking about. We're talking about wholeness. So if you declare that once and for all you're going to be a more loving person next year, and you commit to it, that you're serious, you become a serious human being. I'm serious about this. Then you get to monitor your daily walk down that yellow brick road. Now, what happens? What do you do if you're trying to lose 5 pounds and you eat a piece of chocolate cake? Or what do you do if you're trying to become a more loving person and you snap at somebody in the supermarket? Does that mean you give up? Does that mean you're a failure or you're a bad person? Of course not, because that's the name of the game. The name of the game is walking the walk. So if you're on a diet or trying to lose weight and you eat a piece of chocolate cake, first of all, I want you to love the chocolate cake. Do not eat the chocolate cake thinking how terrible you are, because that's going to go right to your hips, I promise you. So you just, if you're going to eat it, be awake when you eat it. Say, I know I'm committed to losing weight and being healthy, but I'm going to have this cake and I'm going to turn it into broccoli in my system and I'm going to love it. First of all, number one. Then just get back just recommit. So recommit. Same thing with not being loving. Just let yourself off the hook. I wasn't very loving then. I forgive myself for not being very loving. I sent out an apology to that poor store clerk I just annihilated. And I'm still committed to being loving. So within the context of your declaration and your possibility, even the things that look like they're not part of it are part of it, because they're all part of this purification process. So my favorite words, I want to use my words now because I like them, is the declaration you make creates a context. And the context you create ultimately creates content. So we have two words, context and content. Context always produces content. Always. Content flows from context, whether you know what the context is or you don't, whether you created it or you didn't, it doesn't really matter. So for example, I'm going to give you concrete examples of what a context is like operating in the spiritual universe. When there was a time in life when the world was believed to be flat. That was an operating context for humankind during that period. And when that was the operating context, it didn't actually make the world flat, of course, but it dictated how people lived their lives and what they did and how they did it and how they did it with each other and how they did it with themselves. Another example of a context that got created was when John F. Kennedy said, we will put a man on the moon within, I can't remember what he said, 10 years, doesn't matter, that there will be a man on the moon within 10 years. Now, at the time he made that declaration, there was no man on the moon. There was no spaceship that could take a man to the moon. There was no fuel. There wasn't even a plan, really. There was just this declaration of possibility. Once the declaration got made and commitment and the will and the commitment got generated to actually make it happen, everything that happened after that moment was part of the process of ultimately getting the man on the moon. Right? You may look back, people may look back and be able to explain how that happened, but I want you to understand the power of the declaration or the power of the creation of the context. So when you, since context always produces content, if you don't know what the context is, all you need to look at is what is. Look at the results. Look at what is. So, for example, a few contexts that are still in operation right now, there's still a context that hunger is inevitable. If there was a context that hunger could be annihilated on Earth, it would be gone. There would be no hunger or starvation. There's still a context of terrorism. In fact, the context for terrorism got created. Got created I don't know, right after 9/11, that it's a real thing that we need to pay attention to, and it has been a real thing ever since. War, all the inevitability of war and hunger and all of this, these are operating contexts that you and I and the whole world, the whole planet lives under as if they're true, not as if they're um, declarations made previously that we're now just living them. So what is will reveal unconscious and subconscious contexts and commitments. So in your own life, this is going to be a little bit hard to hear, but that's okay. Just kind of if you can get it without making any meaning, if you can get it without making it mean anything, you'll like it, which is if in your life you have an absence of loving relationships or an absence of money, it is not because relationships are hard for God or in God or there's no money. That whatever it is you have because of an operating idea of it. It could be that you don't think you're worthy of having relationships. It could be you think there are no good people out there. It could be you live in fear. It could be anything. And in 99.9.9.999 cases, human beings never want what they don't want. So if you don't have what you want, in order to have what you want, you need to change. You need to change on the inside, and then the outside will be different. That's another way of saying it. Context creates content. Ideas create things. Thoughts are things. Change your thoughts, you change the things. Change yourself, you change the outside. So this quote by Rumi is one of my favorites. He talks about, yesterday I was clever, so I wanted to change the world. Today I am wise, so I am changing myself. So the invitation from me to you on this last Saturday morning musings before 2025 is to just see where your dissatisfaction is. See where your frustrations are. See what was perhaps missing for you in 2024. And if you had a magic wand, which you do, if you had a magic wand or you had a whole army of angels at your disposal to do your bidding, which you do, what would you want to be different in 2025? and recognize that for it to be different, it must become different in you. So in some ways, this sounds a little hard, but in other ways, if you can catch it, there is so much freedom, so much power. You have no idea the power you have. That if you can create a new possibility, if you can commit to that without proof or evidence or a guarantee, right? So you want something, you have a higher why for wanting it, which is normally happiness or fulfillment or satisfaction. It has something to do with your soul's destiny, but we don't have to go there today. Declare a new possibility for yourself. And you don't have to share this with anybody. It could be a secret. It could be just between you and your angels. Commit to it and then walk your walk every day, doing the very best you can do to model that. And I could almost promise you that by the end of 2025, it doesn't matter what it is you wanted, whether it was love or money or health or happiness or friends, it doesn't really matter. That the universe must say yes to your fervent vision of possibilities and declarations and commitments. Another quote I loved, which I'll close with today, is this one: shoot for the moon. Even if you miss it, you'll end up among the stars. So why not? Really, why not? Now, I'm working on this myself, so I'm looking forward to sharing with you my my creative possibilities for 2025. I'll share them with you after the new year. I think I'm with you. I think I'm with you 2 more Saturday mornings before I go back to the United States. So we'll be moving back to Sunday Night Alive once I get home, because I much prefer Sunday nights to Saturday mornings. I know that you do too, because I have way fewer of you with me on Saturdays than I do normally on Sundays. So my lesson. My lesson for today is invent a new you for 2025. So I'm going to pray us out in a moment. I'll anchor this for us in prayer, which is, by the way, when I anchor something in prayer, we're not begging the universe for anything, because we are aligning ourselves with how it works. How it works is you and I think reality into existence through our declarations, our commitments, our congruence with those commitments, our positive expectations, our really walking our walk and talking our talk. I cannot share with you enough that you cannot wait for the world to change. The world will never change, right? That goes right back to our first quote, right? If you always do what you've always done, you'll always get what you already have. Always. It's a law. It's irrefutable. Even if you're poor and you don't change how you feel about money and you win the lottery, you'll be poor again in a year. That's just how it works, right? Money doesn't make you rich. Consciousness makes you rich. Consciousness makes you loving. All right. So before I pray, just inviting you to support my ministry through your love offerings, donations, gifts, and tithes. You can do that through Venmo, through my website, through PayPal. You can also go to my website for my written blogs, to see some of my photography, to request a spiritual coaching session with me. All kinds of things you can do on my website. So please feel free to visit. But for now, let's take a moment, and I'm going to close us out in prayer. If this is a new kind of prayer for you, it's okay. Just listen, let it kind of wash over you and catch it in consciousness. And so we pause once again at the end of our time together to be grateful for the opportunity to talk about things that really matter, to talk about consciousness, to talk about transformation, to talk about being of service to other beings, plants and animals. These conversations matter. And so I recognize once again at the beginning of this affirmative prayer that we live in a spiritual universe that we are spiritual beings, that we do not, we're not here, we did not create ourselves, we did not create anything really. The trees were before us, all the animals were before us, the sun and the moon and the stars, and even ourselves. We did not create ourselves, that there is some intelligence, beauty, and amazing creativity that we are a part of, that we are an extension of. And so it's from that place, recognizing the truth in that statement, that I just speak my word for anyone who is listening within the sound of my voice to simply call forth a new possibility for 2025, a new vision for your life, an unimaginable possibility that will make you so happy, make you so fulfilled, make you so satisfied, so proud, so strong, so courageous, that whatever it is, wherever we're stuck, we can get unstuck. Wherever we're in a rut, we can get out of the rut. If we're on the hamster wheel of life, we can get off. All it takes is a heartfelt, sincerely committed declaration, and then the courage to walk into life down the yellow brick road of manifestation. And so I'm grateful. I'm grateful in advance for all the dreams not yet dreamt, all the visions not yet visioned, all the possibilities not yet pursued, knowing that the universe is on our side. It says yes to us, it says yes to everything. Everything we say in that kind of committed space says yes. And so I am grateful. I'm grateful to hold your possibilities in my prayers always, and to know that you find the courage, the strength, and the internal guidance you need for your success and everything you should move forward with into 2025. So for this and so much more, I'm grateful. I release these words, accepting the fulfillment of them, knowing that it is done. I invite you to join me by saying with me, and so it is. Amen. Amen. All right. So peace and blessings to you from South Africa. I love you as always. I want the best for us all as always. And I look forward to seeing you next week on Saturday morning musings from South Africa. Till then, ta-ta.